አቡን ይትበሽማዩ
أبونا ዘበሰማያት
ንትቀዳሽ ሽሙኽ
ይትቀደስ ስምከ
ቲቴ መልኩቶኽ
ትምጻእ መንግሥትከ
So we're going to look at both of these languages, how they compare, how similar or different they are, why that's the case, by looking at the Lord's Prayer in both language traditions. So Syriac versus Ethiopic, and we're going to be looking at the Lord's Prayer in order to investigate some of the similarities and differences between these two languages. And as I do it, as I go through this process, I'm also going to note some of the other Semitic languages that come to my mind. Any listeners out there who know Hebrew, Arabic, modern dialects of Syriac, Aramaic, Assyrian, anything, well, Amharic, Tigrinya, if you have a strong foundation in Ethiopic yourself, please join in the comments and provide me some feedback. While I tend to do more Syriac daily, Ethiopic I only touch on certain occasions, but it's a language I love. And I think that if you haven't heard of it, you may fall in love with it yourself. So let's begin. First, we're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in Ethiopic, and this will be recited by my friend Alim.
أبونا ዘበሰማያት ይትቀደስ ስምከ ትምጻእ መንግሥትከ ወይኩን ፈቃድከ በከመ በሰማይ ከማሁ በምድር ሲሳየነ ዘለለ ዕለትነ ሀበነ ዮም ህድግ ለነ አበሳነ ወጌጋየነ ከመ ንሕነኒ ንህድግ ለዘአበሰ ለነ ኢታብአነ እግዚኦ ውስተ መንሱት አላ አድኅነነ ወባልሐነ እምኩሉ እኩይ እስመ ዚአከ ይእቲ መንግሥት ኃይል ወስብሐት ለዓለመ ዓለም አሜን.
And now we'll take you through the Lord's Prayer in Syriac, Aramaic. I will be reading it according to the Western pronunciation. I tend to speak classical Syriac with the Western accent. Now, this can be pronounced two ways. We can do that in another video. But for this sake, I'll do it in the Western accent. Abun de Bishmayo, Nith Qadash Shmoch, Tithe Melkuthoch, Nehwe Sevyonoch, Aikanod Bishmayo of Bar'o, Hablan Lahmud Sunqonan Yamono, Washwoklan Havain Wahdohain, Aikanod Dafhnan Shfaqin Lahayavain. ولو تعالى لنسيونه إلى فاصل من بيشو بتوذ ديلو خي ملكوثو وحيلو وتشبحتو العالم علمين آمين. So just a side-by-side comparison of the two languages as a whole. I mean, if you want, you can pause the video and get this side-by-side yourself, or go ahead and email me and I'll send it to you. I'm putting it up here just so we can kind of familiarize ourselves with the pattern and how similar things look as we lay them side by side. You'll obviously see in the beginning, there's more similarity. And as we get toward the center, it gets a little more complicated, but the similarities still persist. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go line by line and just sort of examine the prayer and look at the language from that position. So our Father who is in heaven, Abun de Bishmayo.
أبونا ዘበሰማያት.
These are pretty much the same between the two languages. Little variations in things like the first common plural suffix, the relative marker, the versus the, ba, be is another preposition, and then Shmayo versus Semayat for heaven or the sky. May your name be holy. Nithqadash Shmoch.
ይትቀደስ ስምከ.
Basically the same sort of thing here. Again, the suffix endings are the same. The possessive suffix, the second masculine singular for your. We do see a shift in things like shmo for name versus sim in Ethiopic. And that shift is a shin, a sh sound versus a s sound. And that's common not just between Aramaic and Ethiopic, but things like Aramaic and Arabic. The Aramaic aligns with the Hebrew, and so both of those would have the shift. You also notice here in Syriac, for the third masculine singular here in the imperfect, it's not a Y as we'd expect, it's a nun or an N sound. That's not just in Syriac. There's a couple other dialects of Aramaic that do that. Older Aramaic, of course, uses ye, as we would expect across our Semitic languages.